If you're wanting to make amazing coffee, I have the perfect video for you today. Welcome back to About Coffee, where we talk about all different things to do with coffee. And today we're going to be running through 5 things that are going to up your level of making amazing cups of coffee. So let's dive into those 5 things that you can add to your kitchen to make sure you're brewing amazing cups of coffee. And the first of those is an Aeropress. An Aeropress is a great thing to be adding to your coffee collection. In my opinion, the Aeropress is one of the most versatile brewers that you can possibly be using. There's loads of different ways that you can use it to create different cups of coffee. So if you're starting out with an Aeropress, it's a great way to experiment and have loads of fun when brewing a coffee. And of course, you can then just start playing around with stirring your coffee more in your Aeropress, adding less or more water, having different amounts of coffee, trying out different grind sizes. The possibilities with the Aeropress are pretty endless and you can create amazing cups of coffee. So I think this is the great way to start off with your brewing. Now on to the second thing. A Wilfer grinder. Now these are a little bit more expensive to add to your collection, but I can't praise the Wilfer grinder enough. When you're brewing coffee, you definitely want to have fresh beans and have them freshly ground. It is going to be an absolute game changer to that final cup that you create. And number 3, scales. When you're making your coffee, you definitely want to be weighing out how much coffee and how much water you're putting in. So having an accurate set of scales is very, very important. Another thing you might be wanting to think about with your scales is, does it have a built-in timer? When you do things like a bloom where you pour water over your coffee to release gases, that is to a certain amount of time that you want to do that before you add your next water. So having a timer built into your scales is fantastic. Now of course you can use your phone or things like that, but it does mean that you're pressing loads of different buttons, whereas this is all I need to take with me because it has my timer and my scales inbuilt. And number 4, a gooseneck kettle. Now this is actually the first gooseneck kettle I ever bought. It's not a plug-in kettle, it's just a loose one where I used to boil my kettle and pour hot water into here. Now what it allows me to do is that when I pour over my coffee, it gives a really nice steady pour because it's pouring from the bottom, whereas when you have a normal kettle and it pours from the top, it's very hard to control the speed that that water is coming out, whereas with a gooseneck kettle it's very easy to do that. You can level this up even further and get a plug-in gooseneck kettle, which means that you're boiling the water within that kettle, and they'll often have temperature gauge on there, which means that you can control how hot you have your water. But being able to have a controlled pour over your coffee is definitely something worth having. And number 5 is good coffee. It may sound a bit simple and obvious, but having good coffee is really, really important. Making sure that it's been roasted recently and that it's nice and fresh and that it's come from a really good source is going to make a massive difference. There's lots of different things to look into when you're buying coffee, how it's been processed, how it's been roasted, where it's been grown. There's loads of different little bits that you can get more and more into as you get into your coffee, but just making sure that you're buying from a really good roastery is really important. So there we have it guys, my 5 things that you should definitely be adding to your collection to make sure that you are brewing fantastic cups of coffee. Let me know what you have and what you're thinking about getting down in the comments down below, and don't forget to subscribe and turn on that notification bell so you don't miss out on any future videos, and I'll see you in the next episode.